If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your faded words I would choke.
Happy Monday to everyone in the sports universe. It is July 25th, 2022. This is the AM Drive on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And good morning to all. For Aaron Crouch, I am Michael Carvella saying, what's up, Aaron? How's your weekend, sir?
My weekend was fine. It didn't really get a lot of excitement until I watched the commencement speeches at the Baseball Hall of Fame. And, that's a hot button topic right now. But I know we'll talk about that later. But, yeah, that was a fun little weekend. All in all, though, pretty boring.
Yeah, it was kind of boring. I was watching some lacrosse over the weekend. You have the World Hockey Report hat on, and that's obviously Cody Jansen. Cody was commentating Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League, which is always fun to watch. It's so cool to see those young guys go at it. I was watching Premier Lacrosse League, and just the field lacrosse is so much slower, man. I'm so glad we jumped on the NLL.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of look at it like, speaking of hockey, you look at the NHL game versus the international game, and you watch the Olympics, and the arena's bigger, and it's just such a, I guess boring. I don't know if boring is the right word, but yeah, it is. It's a slower game. It's a much more strategically advanced game when you have so much more field to cover, but that doesn't make it better or worse. Right. It just makes it different. But you're right. The box lacrosse is an awesome experience, and actually one that I'll hope to be doing here real soon. I have officially sent an email applying for us to get credentials for the AM Drive for the new Las Vegas Desert Dogs, and not to disrespect the NLL or the Desert Dogs or anything, but I have a good feeling because I feel like they're going to be wanting as much eyeballs on the sport as possible, and basically anybody who's interested in covering them is probably going to have a good shot at being a media outlet, so to speak. So I'm super excited for that, and maybe you'll have to make some trips out to Vegas to come get your credential badge.
Well, I got to, yeah. I'm excited for it. This lacrosse is obviously a big investment right now, so it's pretty cool to see.
Absolutely. And tonight, the Las Vegas Desert Dogs have a meet and greet. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. A buddy of mine bought season tickets to the Desert Dogs, and he's going to be, allowing me to accompany him to some of these events. The first event was a player meet and greet. I'm sad I'm not going to be able to make it, but hopefully I'll be able to attend some of these events in the future for sure.
Fine golf clap to your buddy.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually relatively inexpensive.
That's what I was going to say. They cannot be that expensive right now.
I think he paid for the entire season. I'm going to say it was like $700 or $800.
See, that's not bad, especially in Vegas. Good Lord, nice.
Correct. On the strip too.
Right. Speaking of merchandise, and by the way, they have a great uniform. By the way, they're like some night uniform they're going to do, which I've been trying to get a hold of. Yeah. Speaking of merchandise, though, AM Drive to Online is our merchandise, the easiest way to support our show. Go to AM Drive to Online, pick yourself up some hoodies, man. Get yourself a t-shirt. Get yourself a mug, like the Black Edition mug. Where's it at? There it is. AM Drive to Online, support, wear, drink our faces, and thanks for that. All right, Aaron, as always, wow, it's been a long time. What's your worst of the weekend? I'm so excited to hear it.
I know, as always. Did you and Sammy do best and worst of the weekends? I tried to catch as many shows as I could, but I couldn't. I'll be honest, I couldn't catch them all. That's awesome. I'm glad to see the tradition, unlike any other, was able to continue. And by the way, Sammy has. I communicated with Sammy. He's in Italy right now. I communicated with him through Facebook Messenger. I know that he's got way more important things to do than check out the show, but just wanted to give a shout out again to Sammy for holding it down in the in the Studio B slot for the summer. But yeah, my best and worst of the weekend. What are we starting with? Best or worst?
Worst.
Yeah, my worst of the weekend is my beloved Boston Red Sox giving up 4 touchdowns to the Toronto Blue Jays, and I hate to say this just because it's not something a Boston Red Sox fan really hears a lot lately, even in some of the down years. I think we have to be sellers at the deadline, and I think that. Well, definitely Jackie Bradley Jr. if anybody even wants him, but maybe you have to look at guys like JD Martinez, and I hate to say Alex Verdugo. I think the only guys who are really untouchable are probably Bogey and Devers at this point, and Chris Sale. God, what a bum he has been during his time in Boston. I know injury,
Yeah.
I get it, but it's just like for the Moncadas of the world that they gave up. It's just I know a lot of this is not stemming just from a 28-5 loss, but. It's just a culmination of what's going on. But, it's nice to see that Alex Cora, even after getting swept and giving up 4 touchdowns in one of the games, still kind of has that positive mindset. And they're not really so far out of a wild card spot. It just, for me, this doesn't seem like a year.
After a loss last night to the Blue Jays, they're now 48-48. And that they've fallen off pretty quickly here. They're now 0-11-1 against the AL East, according to Sports Stance. He said it was 10-1 before this series started. So I'm assuming after being lost to the Blue Jays, they're now 0-11-1 against their own division. It's not good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They're 3 games out of a wild card spot.
Yeah,
but it just doesn't feel like a season. I mean, they've got 7. I think the trade deadline was moved back to August 1st this year for whatever reason. So they have 7 days to figure out what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. They have, I think they've got a series against Cleveland.
Juan Soto.
I don't hate it. I just don't think they're going to be. I don't think they have the assets necessary to acquire.
That wouldn't work anyways. There would be no reason to do that.
I disagree. I mean, 100% disagree with regards to adding Juan Soto. I mean, you're talking about a generation. I mean, you're talking about a guy. You're going to have to pay him. The thing is, you're going to have to pay him, and you didn't pay Mookie. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, go ahead. You're right. My worst, Aaron, sounds boring at first, but this has not happened since 1960, according to their own research.
All right.
So, this year, the new car in NASCAR has been they've been finding a lot of people, but this time, apparently someone crossed the line. So, Denny Hamlin won at Pocono for a record 7th time. Congratulations, Denny Hamlin. Up! No,
not so fast, my friend.
Again, not so fast. That's a good one, Aaron. So he won the Tricky Triangle, breaking the tie with Jeff Gordon, by the way. But not only was he disqualified, breaking the win, so was the second place driver, also his teammate, or Joe Gibbs' driver, Kyle Busch. So the third place guy, who did not even lead a lap, fan favorite Chase Elliott, gets gifted the win, and by next week, they said it should probably be finalized. They're shipping the 2 Toyotas that were disqualified off to some research center to make sure that this is true. But post-race inspection was not kind. Denny Hamlin, like I said, 7th victory at Pocono would have been a record, and then Kyle Busch led 63 laps. That's just unheard of. And they said 1960 was the last time NASCAR believes it disqualifies someone from a win. Insanity.
That is pretty crazy. I saw your Twitter feed and I was looking at what you tweeted, and then you quote tweeted yourself, and I happened to see that. That's pretty crazy. Denny Hamlin's a pretty good driver, and this is a little insane for disqualifying somebody for, I guess, intentionally wrecking.
No, they apparently there was some cheating thing going on with their cars.
Oh, okay. I thought it was for the wrecking thing.
No,
so they actually failed
that's a good point,
inspections.
That's a good point, because that's what I meant to say was Ross Chastain had wrecked Denny Hamlin earlier in the season. Denny Hamlin kind of closed him off, and this was Robin's racing. That was actually going to be my best of the weekend, was that NASCAR lets these guys race, but it turns into my worst, because forget that, the post-race inspection with the cars was off. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
That's an aerodynamic thing going on.
You know, you don't get a ton of drama in NASCAR, but that's crazy. The first time since 1960. So we're talking about 60 plus years of DQing a driver. That's wow. That's insane. That is
So they don't want to do it.
that's a big worst.
Go ahead, Best.
All right, my best of the weekend is always a bridesmaid, never a bride. It's actually kind of changing lately. He's been surging, so to speak, on the PGA Tour. Tony Finau gets a win at the 3M Open thanks to Scott Piercy. I mean, what a barn burner of a disastrous. What do you want to call it? You want to call choke jobs? This is a choke job. You want to talk about John Rahm and his choke jobs in your mind? This is a choke job. Tony Finau down by 5 with 11 holes to play, comes back, shoots just a cool, calm, and casual 67 to win the 3M Open. Tony's just been playing pretty good golf lately, and we know Tony's history. Tony Johnson and I have discussed it on Vegas Squares. We've discussed it here on this show. He's got some of the worst second place finishes I've ever seen in my life with regards to him and his choke job / meltdowns as well. So good on Tony Finau on getting this win. I know that the major season is over, but he's one of the guys I'd really like to see kind of break that glass ceiling, so to speak. And if the PGA Tour is really ever going to be able to hold on to this fan base and even develop new fans, and I know, we've talked about identities, politics in the world, but Tony Finau being Samoan, being black, is one that can help energize the PGA, because the PGA is in a weird spot right now. And a win for Tony Finau, but Tony Finau, the human, take all that other stuff out. Good for him. He's a great watch. If you ever see him on YouTube videos or ever see him in his own element, fantastic human being, and congratulations to Tony Finau.
You saw his family right there. Apparently his family with like the 2 or 3 kids travels with them, according to the broadcasters. So that was pretty cool.
He has like 5 kids.
There was at least 3 of them right there. I'll put it that way.
I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He's got 5 children.
All right, Philip Rivers, get easy on your boy.
Yeah, he might develop his own tour.
Yeah, an actual logical. Let me shut up. My best of the weekend is after seeing LeBron James at the Drew League light it up. How about we get Trae Young and John Collins, 2 of the local Hawks boys here, lighting it up? And Trae Young looked incredible, by the way. I still believe he's got potential to be one of the best point guards of all time. You got handles like Kyrie, up there. Passing, which is unheard of, like Luka and LeBron. You can drive the ball, and you can shoot a 3 like Steph Curry. It's really incredible stuff that Trae Young is doing. I love seeing him in the Drew League. I love these NBA players going out there to people who like to these cheap ticket places. They might have to raise the price of the Drew League. Fantastic job for Trae Young.
That's what I was going to wonder. So help me out with this, and it doesn't have to be a long dialogue here, but why are these players, they seem like they're okay skipping the Olympics or the FIBA World Championships. They have no problem doing that, but going out to the Drew League and risking injury for what? I mean, they can't be getting paid that much. I mean, is it just like a culture thing, or is it just like a situation where help me out here, because I don't understand why they're so willing to play the Drew League. And the same with NHL players. They'll play the Beauty League, the Butte, or whatever they call it. It's kind of like a Drew League for hockey. But they seem to never really want to be involved with the Olympics that much anymore.
I would say, I like the word you use, culture, because I was going to say nostalgia, but I think culture sounds better in basketball.
Is the Drew League a big nostalgia league? I mean,
it's been on for years. Didn't it
stem from Kyrie dressing up like an old man? Isn't it from the Uncle Drew days? Isn't that what that is? I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
I know I saw the movie, but I think it's older than that, though. I think that's just where they call him as Uncle Drew. But I don't think there's any correlation, though. But
no correlation between the Drew
League.
I
thought LeBron did it to give a slap in the face to AD. That's what I thought LeBron did it for, because LeBron hadn't done it in 11 years.
Yeah, it says it's established in 1973. Wow.
Yeah, okay. That's a culture thing for you.
Oh, it was founded at Charles D. Drew Middle School.
It's also in California, too, so that helps a lot of guys out.
Yeah, LA. Of course, exposure now is you can become that. Now, I don't know if you're old enough to remember like the And One mixtape tour. Do you remember that? Did you ever
No,
watch those videos? You should look those up on YouTube. It wasn't any basketball players or celebrities, but actually a couple guys made the league.
really.
One guy actually he went by Skip to My Lou. His name was Rafer Alston. He played for the
Heard of him.
Magic when I was covering them with
I've
Dwight
heard of
Howard when
him.
they went
Yep.
to the final. Yeah, he was in the N1. Look up the N1 mixtape tour. Anybody watching out there?
And
If
one,
you
I think it's just like and one. I've heard of and one.
and one, like the
Yeah,
foul
but
and
the
one.
crappy shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the shoes were bad. Yeah, I had a pair back
I
in the
did
day. I think we
too.
got them at Walmart or something. They were cheap. They
I
were
got
like
a blue and
35
white
bucks.
pair. Yeah,
I don't remember what color mine were, but yeah, like the N1 mixtape tour. If you're watching this,
that's funny.
shout out, hit us up in the comments if you watched the N1 mixtape tour. When you were growing up. I don't even know if it still might be a thing. I doubt it, but it still might be a thing. But I remember Skip to My Lou. My favorite guy was Hot Sauce. I don't know his name in real life, but he was he went by the name Hot Sauce, and he was awesome. Had the sickest handles I ever seen.
Okay, so I want to get to this before we move on because I want to take a commercial break and then we'll talk baseball, Nick Wright, and LIV. So let's do this. John Metchie III, diagnosed with what he says is the most curable form of, unfortunately, leukemia. It's obviously cancer. This dude, as Aaron brought to me before the show, I forgot that. I was like, he was drafted lowest because he had the ACL issue. He was the other guy. Like, we heard about the first one, the Jameson Williams guy, but John Metchie also tore his ACL, I believe, before Jameson Williams even did.
Jameson was in the national championship, and I think
Yeah.
Metchie was in the SEC championship.
Right. They're both really good players, but John Metchie just sucks for him, dude. Because I'm a Colts fan, I'm a Georgia fan, and it still burns me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, at Alabama last year, 96 catches for 1,142 yards and 8 touchdowns before tearing the ACL in the SEC title game. Not only that, the Texans traded up, sending 3 picks to the Browns to get him number 44 overall. It wasn't like
He's
he
a
slid
steal, too.
super far. I mean, he's obviously coming off the ACL surgery, but so was Jameson, and I think he went, 12th?
That's
Something
what I'm
like
saying.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, off the field here, this is such a crappy hand to be dealt to John Metchie. I mean, he was kind of already going to miss most of this season with recovery from that torn ACL. But
Right.
I mean, if you could find a silver lining, I mean, when he does say it's the most curable form of leukemia, I got to imagine that in the world we live in, if they're telling him that right away, then he's got to have high spirits and good positive attitude and vibes here. And so obviously
Agreed.
the easiest thing to do is just say, we wish you well. And obviously we want to see you, the human, become, cured and in a positive spirit. And then when you're ready, get back on this field. Cause I'm interested in seeing this guy play for sure. Absolutely.
too.
John Metchie, watching him at Alabama, which is slowly becoming wide receiver
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah, but first and foremost, John Metchie, the human's got to get himself right. And for that, we just, say prayers up and positive vibes.
Yes, sir. Let's leave it there. And when we come back, we're talking Baseball Hall of Fame, Nick Wright's controversial list, and LIV video with Phil Mickelson and Gorillas. We'll explain next.
Fill in the gorillas.
The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the LIV Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask.
It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
All right. I don't know. I hadn't done that in almost 2 months.
I know.
All right, welcome back here to the AM Drive. Now that our microphones are on, we want to tell you about Fanatics. It's very simple. See that website right up there, mikeandaarondrive.com. You have to go to that website, and when you do, there is a Fanatics button. Looks like an F. Looks like that. What do you have to do with that, Mike, when you see it on mikeandaarondrive.com?
You got to wiki click it.
That is correct. And when you do click that F, it will take you right into the Fanatics store, and you get every league, every team, every player, daily deals. The daily deal of the day today, 30% off autographed memorabilia. You see it scrolling right there on the bottom of the screen. 30% off autographed memorabilia. If you're a memorabilia head like me, that's a big thing for you, of course. And you can also get everything, like I said, jerseys, hats, jackets, souvenirs, anything you can think of. They've probably got your team and your need taken care of. So visit fanatics.com, but by first going to mikeandaarondrive.com and clicking that F to support the show. And for that, we thank you.
That's the best one. Yeah, good job. So Baseball Hall of Fame is officially was officially commencing. They had the commencement ceremony yesterday. I believe that's what that was.
Induction, whatever you want to call it, yeah.
Right. That's right, induction. Big Papi, David Ortiz, Boston Red Sox, our boy, gets in there. Congrats to him. And so did baseball writer, ESPN guy, Tim Kirkjian, who I believe is one of the most likable guys I've ever seen as in terms of reporters. Like, he's something what John Clayton was for me with the NFL. But Tim Kirkjian is always just a cool, cheesy individual. I love those kind of reporters. Like, there's no reason why they have a broadcasting just because they have fun and everybody trusts them because they're just nice guys.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it on the head there with the John Clayton comparisons because, you're right. They are kind of they're cheesy, so to speak, but they don't sway. That's who they are. That's who that's what they do. They're really good at their job. And you learn to really just have a lot of respect and love for a guy that maybe outside of this sports spectrum, you really wouldn't engage with. Like a guy like, you got to get his name right there. Tim Kirkjian, not Kirkian. Come on, man.
Shame on me. I don't even
Where's the J? Where is the J? But yeah, Tim Kirkjian, John Clayton, guys like that. There are some what I would call copycats in today's world, but they don't do as good a job or stay true to their, who they are, like Tim Kirkjian does. And it was awesome to see him tear up when he was talking about his folks. And obviously they were not, they're not still with us here to be able to see him get inducted into the Hall of Fame. But, a Vice golf clap, a tip of the cap to Tim Kirkjian. For all your years of hard work. I mean, you cover the guys that you put into the Hall of Fame, and then to be placed in there alongside of them is got to be a pretty awesome feeling.
Yeah, I love it too. And I mean, obviously, we can talk about Big Papi in the Negro Leagues, but really, Tim Kirkjian.
The what leagues?
Tim Kirkjian is just incredible. And one last thing I'll say about him is he said this is the biggest accomplishment of his life. This means something to Tim. Like Basketball Hall of Fame, like everyone gets in there. Baseball is such a cutthroat thing. And it's like, guys are like held back for years. But Tim Kirkjian is one of those guys, like you said, he never changed. Like when I see Adam Schefter, he's got controversy sometimes. Tim Kirkjian is always just a cheesy, nice dude. Everyone trusts and likes because he'll never change. Love it.
Yeah, and you look at, other guys who got in, obviously some like Buck O'Neil, Manny Minoso, guys like that, obviously Buck O'Neil is a one that I was surprised that he wasn't in, I guess you could say, as far as being a trailblazer for the Negro Leagues. But, you have a guy like Jim Catt who, 283 games, 16 gold gloves. How is this guy not already in the Hall of Fame?
Who knows?
I mean, you talk about a testament to how hard it is to get into this one versus basketball. It's like, good Lord. I mean, you win 283 games. I know that 300 was always such a big number, but 283 and 16 gold
Pretty
gloves.
close.
That ain't nothing to scoff at, for sure.
Can we talk about it?
Well, yeah, we can. I wanted to talk about, Big Papi, obviously. Just
Big Papi's the easy one.
what?
That's the easy one. I mean, we all know Big Papi's the whole thing. Right?
It meant to me growing up is
That's
just,
true. Go ahead.
like the early years, of where he was. Obviously, in Minnesota, just don't know much about going on. But 2003 comes. I'm in high school. Comes over to the Red Sox and just. Becomes one of the greatest Red Sox of all time. I know that's tough to say because there's so many of them, and I think if he hasn't already, I could be wrong. If he hasn't already, he's going to be up on the Ring of Fame in Boston. I would imagine he is.
I think he is. I think there's a 34 up there. I
can't remember if he had or not. I didn't know if they'd already done that. I figured they'd have done that before he went into Cooperstown for sure. But for all the talk of baseball and the Dominican Republic influence on it, there's only 4 guys from the Dominican Republic that are in the Hall of Fame. And so it's, obviously I would think it's starting to come if Juan Soto's career continues on this trajectory. He might be another one as well. But you have Pedro, Vlad Guerrero, Juan Marichal, and now David Ortiz. And I'm not Dominican, obviously, by any stretch of the imagination, but growing up in Florida and seeing that influence of Cuban and Dominican baseball just in my backyard and what they have meant to this sport, including just the birth of the World Baseball Classic too. Which I would love to see come back here very soon. It's just awesome to see, for me personally, what David Ortiz has meant to my world. And the Red Sox, although I don't talk about them a lot, in all of sports, they are my favorite team to watch and support. And how much I talk about the Lightning, and how much I talk about the Bucks. But the Red Sox are a team I just quietly, just enjoy watching and follow. And it's and what he meant to me growing up is a lot. So I just wanted to touch quickly on Big Papi as far as 20 years in the business, 541 home runs. I was always a big proponent of DHs not making the Hall of Fame, but he just shattered even the expectations that I would have for a DH. I would have to say a DH would have to be so far above and beyond, and he was it. Absolutely.
Completely agree. A fun fact about me, not that it matters, but I'm a Red Sox fan, and that was my first love in baseball was the big B and I like the blue and the red scheme going on. I love their red uniforms growing up. But watching Jonathan Papelbon, watching Kevin Youkilis, watching Josh Beckett, the starting pitcher, Hideki, when Daisuke Matsuzaka is what I want to say. Love that name. That was my era. I was like 7 years old, like you said, in 2003. Trying to get to enjoy it as much as you did as a high schooler, but man, Big Papi definitely he was probably my first baseball player I really liked as well. Wasn't as big as you, but I really enjoyed him.
Well, ironically, my favorite baseball player of all time never played for the Red Sox, but he Ortiz is probably at least top 3 for me all time in favorite baseball players.
As long as they ain't Derek Jeter, we're good.
No, it's Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay, cool.
I when I was growing up, I emulated everything about Ken Griffey Jr., including wearing his number. So
there you go. Let's get to this though. This is. Oh, you want to talk about the girl? The one she said.
We don't really have to. It's not a topic we really should touch on, but I watched the video. You can kind of give a synopsis here, but I watched the video, and I really tried hard to have an open mind in terms of like, yeah, she probably. It sounds like. Go ahead, just kind of tee it up here.
And coming from a white Southern lady is not the greatest thing either. But
yeah, well, of course, yeah, that optics not great.
I love you. This white blonde older looking lady looks like a Karen gets up to induct somebody into the Baseball Hall of Fame. It mentions their accolades in the Negro Leagues, and as you would guess from what I just said, she did say N-word leagues, and it was pretty rough. If you watch the video, she kind of brushes through it, but it's definitely there. I saw it on Twitter yesterday. I don't know why I would tell people to look it up, so don't look it up because it's just there's no point. But if you would like to be enlightened as to what happened, you can look it up on Twitter. But it's not a good look, man.
So, excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning to the AM Drive.
I have to give her some kind of pass. Like, even if she was a, pillowcase toting, Klan card carrying member, I just can't imagine she's going to use that platform to say that word.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to say it. And they panned on some of the black players and some of the like Reggie Jackson.
And they didn't seem.
And nobody seemed, like shocked or like, did she say what I think she said? Or like, it just, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, of course, Twitter took this thing and ran like wildfire. Like it, and I listened to it 8 times. It does sound like it, but nobody at the actual, induction.
That's what was my first reaction to. Was like, wow,
nobody had a reaction at all to that. And, the N-word and Negro, like it, I really honestly think, as much as I'm not a cancel culture guy, we got to call that thing something. I know they called it the Negro Leagues back then, but like, is there anything we can do to just maybe even take the concept of the N-word out of it?
Like call it the Black League, the African American Leagues.
Or anything like that. Like calling it the Negro League is just asking for trouble. And when somebody who has a little bit different of a dialect or accent, and it just doesn't do well for anybody.
We should have Mitch Bernstein on.
Okay.
Last time I checked, he's interviewed some of those guys.
Sure. Just getting his take on this. And like I said, I understand you don't want to change the course of history just because you don't like something. It just seems in today's sensitive ass society, like I feel like just so, because people still, will pronounce that word Negro versus Negro, and Negro spoken fast or in the wrong context does sound like the other word. So,
but not like that.
It's not like, we're gonna I don't know. This just, like I said, I'm not a cancel culture guy or calling for change just because something happened that you don't like. But this one just seems like it's just too close. It's just too close. Yeah, call it the Black Leagues, or black colleges aren't called Negro schools or Negro college. They're called historically black colleges.
HBCU,
yeah. I know they were never called that. I'm just saying, like, if you're using an identity to describe something, it doesn't have to be called the Negro Leagues still, or the Negro Leagues, whatever. How do you say it? Do you say it? It's Negro. So I would say Negro. Yes, of course. I'm just saying, like,
it's probably Negro, for being fair.
I don't want to sweat, because I think that stems from Spanish.
It does. If you look at a crayon, one of the big jokes is, like, I think Barry talked about it the other day. He's like, hey, God, hey, Crayola, my transgender 3-year-old son is not very happy about this Negro thing on the screen.
Well, I always remember growing up, like at school lunches, they would put on the board, because I grew up in Tampa, and there's a lot of Hispanic culture there, and so lunch board was in English and Spanish, and whenever we had black beans, we had frijoles negros. So of course, when you're a freaking elementary school, middle school kid, you're gonna be like, oh my God, it says Negro on the board. Exactly. So I'm just saying, like, can the language of Spanish please adopt to the culture we live in now?
Adapt, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I need to cancel Spanish at this point.
Oh, all right, that's a TikTok moment. Okay, yeah. Let's get to Nick Wright. Because people like to use the term Nick wrong, and sometimes I get it. But this guy is a LeBron supporter. He is one of the
That's a nice way of saying it.
You'd be nice. He's an articulate. He is probably the smartest LeBron supporter I've ever seen. Like when in his first thing with like going on Skip Bayless's Undisputed show and just completely crushing him in the Jordan LeBron debate. I was okay, cool. This is like this guy's really good. So he has now become a very popular figure in sports. Like when he's following on Twitter and YouTube and all that, it's getting up there as like the top. So this stuff's gonna matter to people. He did a list, the top 50 basketball players of the final 50 years, and we're finally at number 3. It's not Kareem, it's not LeBron, it's the other guy, it's Michael Jordan. Now, Nick has been very adamant saying recently, like Michael Jordan pre-winning a ring was actually looked like a better player sometimes. Like he had almost better numbers, you could argue. And then he prefaced that because obviously this was coming, and it's number 3 on his list. I know everyone's saying, well, it's clickbait. Stop saying that, guys. Like when I support Daniel Jones, I'm not doing it for clicks. Stop saying that. That's just stupid. There's some guys who can obviously, like people on Twitter, the little guys with the athlete emojis, those guys are doing it for clicks and likes. People with their credibility on the line, like Skip Bayless, I've looked at his personal stuff. He believes what he says. He believes it. Now, debate television might call for, them being topic. Does not mean they don't believe what they're talking about here. So I'm actually with Nick Wright. I will never say Kareem is better than Michael Jordan. But in my list, on Mike's first, like 2 years ago on 12 on Sports, Aaron, did you know that I put Wilt Chamberlain number 2 and Michael Jordan number 3? I put Wilt. I would never put Kareem because I don't believe a post-hook shot magician as much points as he did score, as much rebounds, as much championships, blah, blah, blah. But to me, there's a point here because it's longevity. And greatest of all time, sorry, kind of hurts Michael Jordan sometimes. He's not top 10 in anything besides points per game. But come on now. I'm sorry. Well, I can see Nick's point. Oh, I don't agree with it.
Well, here's the question, though. I mean, I'm looking at Nick's list, and there's 2 spots left. Obviously, number 2 and number 1. And I don't see Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, okay. 50 years. Okay. Then fair enough. That's probably why he did that, so he could take Wilt off the list here.
Good point.
But I'm sorry. To me, first and foremost, like, these lists are just ridiculous. Just because you come up with one, it is absolutely clickbait. The NBA has released their 75 players of all time. Who else lists actually matter? Not Skip, not Shannon, not Nick Wright, I don't even care if Michael Jordan made a list. Those lists don't matter. The NBA came out with what they believe is the top 75 players of the last 75 years. And that's the only one that matters. Because every single person's going to have an opinion. I mean, what happens if, I don't know, just give me a basketball head. Rick Bucher comes out and says Larry Bird's the best player of all time.
Right.
If that's what he believes, who gives a damn? I don't trust this list because I'm a Michael guy, but I'm not an anti-LeBron guy. I think he is his career is a bit ridiculous when it comes to all-time situations here. I mean, like, look, here's a situation where I love this post because I know you're going to hate it, but the 2002-2003 Wizards, led by Michael Jordan, won 37 games with Tyronn Lue, Jerry Stackhouse, and Kwame Brown. The 2021-22 Lakers with Hall of Famers Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard won 33 games. I know, injuries, all this other stuff. Yeah, Michael Jordan.
Does that not matter?
But I mean, how does that team at any given time not go 500? They weren't all injured. AD is garbage.
Here's what I ask when people ask that. LeBron averaged 30 points a game and I want high efficiency. And I ask people this is a genuine question, because it's not really an argument point, it's just a question. What more should LeBron have done?
It doesn't matter.
It wasn't like it was garbage time. I just want to know what LeBron should have done to make him better and make his team win 4 more games. I just want to know.
Win 4 more games. That's all it is.
But there has
not
to be
get
a
hurt. What good is LeBron James at in his 20th season if he can't play half the season?
He played like 50 games though.
Yeah, and then he sat out the games that mattered the most when they were freaking on the cusp of missing the playoffs at 33 wins.
But we knew they were going to. But see, when Jordan came back a few times and patted so he could average 20 points a game for another season, LeBron would have been crucified had he come back and played those games and won the scoring title, but missed the playoffs.
Maybe, maybe not. The fact of the matter is if he's winning the scoring title, they're probably going to win those games. And everybody knew if they got into that play-in game or that 8th seed, you never quite knew what could happen in the playoffs.
I would agree with that.
I'm not even saying they would have lost. I'm saying you get in, and that's all that matters sometimes.
That's true.
Sometimes just getting in is all that matters.
Patrick Beverley, the Timberwolves won the championship.
They might win it this year.
And they shipped him off.
I mean, the thing is I'm a Michael guy, so putting LeBron over Michael to me is blasphemy. Nick Wright's a LeBron guy. You're a LeBron guy. So you guys are always going to do that. Nothing will ever change it. So honestly, largely, and I know what's going to happen. Nick Wright's going to put LeBron 2 and Kareem 1. Kareem is one of. I don't think so. I think he's going to put Kareem 1.
You think? That's a good. Hey, I'll be impressed.
Kareem is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Look, I'm not even 100% sure Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time, but I do believe in the LeBron versus Michael debate. I believe it's Michael. I believe Bill Russell's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Yes, he played in a different era. I believe Kareem as well, Wilt Chamberlain. There's so many guys that dominated a league so much more than LeBron and Michael did.
Agreed.
Was their league a little different? Back in the day, that's not an argument you can ever have because that's just the way life works. Eras are eras. If Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in today's era, maybe he dominates it, maybe he doesn't. There's no bigs that could stop Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in today's era. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if he played in Shaq's era, maybe Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is an afterthought because he's not on the Lakers, and 2, he's not the greatest big man of his era. I mean, to me, I think Shaq and Hakeem are 2 of the best big men I've ever seen play. But that's because I watched them play when I enjoyed the NBA. And they were incredible. I think Kobe is a phenomenal player. I never really watched Larry Bird, but I hear he's phenomenal. Like, Steph Curry, for me, is he a top 10 player of all time? No, I don't think he's better than some of the guys below him. Kevin Durant, some of the guys that I've seen. I don't think he's better than Giannis and
Agreed.
Giannis. And I don't think he's better than, I don't think he's better than Dirk. But that's my opinion. I saw him play. I haven't seen a ton of Steph Curry, but what I have watched, I don't think he's better than some of the guys below him. But this isn't my list. And my list, just like Nick Wright's list, doesn't matter.
The reason I had Wilt so high on my list was because there's videos of him blocking Kareem's skyhook, and that just never happened. I also have seen the head-to-head numbers between him and Russell. Yeah, Russell won, but Wilt was on it was like the LeBron thing. Like, he was on horrible teams, and like his numbers compared to Russell in the finals were just like all-time dominating Russell. Sure. But it wasn't like the championship. But I think I like the list for the conversation, but I have to hear the right arguments for people. And you made a good one. I have to hear the right arguments from people. I think Nick Wright has made enough arguments that I can agree with his takes.
And he can argue till he's blue in the face, but it's just like politics. Like, when you have a firmly entrenched opinion on something, there is little to nothing that is going to change your mind. That's to true. Me, if you asked me who I would have to put number 1 of people I've seen, like, it's so hard. Like, Nick Wright wasn't around for freaking, Bob McAdoo and Bill Russell and all these other guys. Like, of course he's going to say the last 50 years, but he's not even 50 years old. Like, it's even hard to take a list like that seriously when guys, like, for me, the greatest player of all time, most dominant player in basketball history for me is Shaquille O'Neal. Minus the free throw shooting, he's the most dominant player. Too, actually. 100%. He's the most dominant player I have ever seen. And Hakeem was a close second because they were both pretty damn awesome at what they did. Minus the free throw shooting for Shaquille O'Neal. But you just, like, talking about transcendence to a game and changing just the fact that even in an era of big men, he was so far above and beyond all the rest of the big men he played with, including Hakeem. Shaquille O'Neal is the best player.
He won 2 finals MVPs.
Yeah. So to me, he's the best player of all time. But
wow.
He is. To me.
I'm a Heat fan. I'll take it.
And again, it ultimately doesn't matter what I think, but watching who I've watched play. I've never watched Moses Malone or Julius Erving. I watched a little bit of Magic Johnson, and that was mostly replays, and Larry Bird's mostly replays, and they're awesome to watch. But like Jason Kidd, I don't think Jason Kidd belongs on this list just because he has a ton of assists. But like you have Jason Kidd number 27 and Steve Nash number 40. Like I think those should be flipped.
Good point.
I don't think Russell Westbrook should be ahead of Steve Nash just because he's a walking stat machine. I think Steve Nash is one of the best point guards I ever watched of all time.
I like Steve Nash. I like Jason Williams too, but he doesn't have longevity or consistency.
And to say Luka Doncic is one of the top 20 players of all time, he's phenomenal. That's
the playoff argument.
But he just hasn't done it enough. He's been in the league, what, 5 years?
4.
Yeah, 4 years, and we're looking at basically the what have you done for me lately? Okay, he got to the conference finals. He's not a top 20 player of the last 50 years. I'm sorry. He's good, and he will be good, and he might be on this list at the end of his career. Probably will be, but I'm sorry. This just it's not doing it for me.
Fair enough. So Draymond Green, this is an interesting one I found last night. This was tweeted at about 10 o'clock Eastern time. I'm watching the 98 Bulls versus Utah in the finals. I can't help but notice our 2017 team would have beaten these Bulls by a dub and these Jazz by 40 if they're going to play these brands of basketball. And that's why it's dumb to compare eras.
Well, of course. I mean, he basically wanted to take a jab and then backpedaled in the same tweet. We'd beat the Jazz by 40. Yeah, probably so. But to say that you would beat maybe the greatest team of all time, or allegedly the greatest team of all time, by what is a dub? Is that 2?
I think, yeah. I'm not culturally inclined sometimes.
It would be awesome to create some kind of scientific experiment that lets people interact from different times in life, but it's this is another thing. Like, take your little backhand and then try to backpedal on it. Like, what's funny is it in all of this, and I know that he came out with the massive documentary, and really none of it has to do with the greatest basketball player in the world or greatest basketball teams, but you don't ever hear a peep out of Michael.
You really don't. That's true.
He just lets you guys, you can say whatever the heck you want. I'll just let the fans take care of it. He doesn't say a word.
He's too busy running the Hornets into the ground. Let's get to the LIV. There was a video posted introducing Faraday or whatever the name is.
Yeah, David Faraday, one of the more influential announcers of the golf world, had his own show. I think he still has his own show, but had his own show on the Golf Channel.
His Twitter bio still says it on Golf Channel, but I think it's going to change.
Well, yeah, I think Golf Channel is probably going to be dumping him real soon.
But yeah, he is still on his Twitter bio, and he retweeted the videos. That's interesting. This video ends with Phil Mickelson with gorillas looking like he's high off pills. I have to read you some of these comments that I retweeted. They are really good. Kevin Na looks like he's being held hostage.
A little bit, yeah. I can see that one. Yeah.
Phil with every one of his remaining sponsors on his hat.
By the way, if you have not watched the video, I did retweet it on our Twitter account at AM Drive TV. So it's a
dandy.
It's weird. Yeah. It looks very low budget too for a league with unlimited money.
That's my point too, is like the phone videos were just not doing it for me. So yeah, Phil with every one of his remaining sponsors on his black hats.
That's good. I like that one.
Oh, senior commentator to commentate the LIV Senior Tour. Nice. A great place for has-beens or never-wases.
I don't like that one. But
here's a good one. Where's Ogletree? Did they chop him up after he played like crap the first week? Come on, that's good.
That's decent. That's decent.
Right. Did they chop him up or something? Somebody said Mickey Mouse League. And someone else said, I'll watch for $5,000 if you pay me.
Well, that's the thing right now is the LIV Tour is not on a channel right now, and I think that's what's really hurting it. I don't. Who's going to be the first network to fall on the sword, so to speak, and take the backlash to broadcast this?
Fox?
I think of the big four, yeah, probably. I mean, I was thinking this thing might be on like, I mean, what does Fox own in terms of cable networks?
Well, but this is HBO would jump on. That'd be a good one.
Oh, paid programming. I don't know if paid programming might be the best.
Is HBO paid programming?
Well, you have to pay to get HBO.
Oh yeah.
You have to pay to have HBO. So,
Well,
do I
it's not.
read
It's
this
not
right?
anything. Is ESPN related? That's for dang sure.
They could put them on like FX if Fox acquired them. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that.
FX would
Did
be a
you
good
know
one.
that Fox Network is owned by Walt Disney? So Fox ain't doing it.
I've
Disney
heard that
is.
before.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize that Fox was bought. I know ABC is Disney, but I didn't realize Fox was Disney too. When did that happen?
What about CBS, the Viacom company? Would they do it?
I just don't. I mean,
No, because
if
they already
it's
have PGA. They already have PGA. That's dumb.
yeah, they're not gonna do that. And then you have ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC covers some PGA events as well. It would have to be, a subsidiary cable network, and maybe it does go on something like HBO where you can watch it on HBO Max or. I feel like that's such a big step back or a big problem for the LIV the tour right now is you can't turn on the TV and find them.
Right.
But like if somehow Fox bought them and was interested in broadcasting them, I could see it being on one of their networks, even like Fox Business Channel or as far as
FS2.
Yeah,
FS1.
FS1, FS2, FX, any of those kind of things. But yeah, that's the big one right now. But back to the video with Faraday and situation. I can get past all of the other minute and 20 seconds of that video, but the Phil Mickelson thing makes no sense because not only is it at the end of the video, like the video looks like it ends, and then if you wait 1 or 2 seconds, then he pops up. It almost seems like he snuck into the editing room and spliced him in, like he snuck in and spliced himself in at the end, like didn't really know how to work the equipment. So he's like, I'll just put myself at the end here. Like, and then he's got a mask on in the
Gorillas in
open.
Rwanda does not rub me right when he said that.
Yeah, because
Rwanda is a war-torn country.
If you want to run with the guerrillas, like, what does that even mean? No part of it makes sense, and I hope Tony comes on Wednesday to talk about that with us.
This will be fun. Me and Tony are gonna have a ball with this.
And like I said, I haven't been necessarily a supporter of the LIV Golf tournament, much as I've just been a devil's advocate, so to speak, the PGA tournament or of the PGA Tour. But yeah, this is weird. Like Bryson, I thought was a great intro. I mean, he's
polished with the speaking.
Right, and of course, a lot of these other guys are foreign, and their English isn't the greatest. Sergio, Ian Poulter, his accent, Lee Westwood, other guys like this. But I know that we talk about the broadcasting and the budget and the production value. I did kind of like that a lot of those guys just took like selfies and held up the camera. But yeah, the Kevin Na thing, I never really thought about that. Is he being held hostage? Kudos to whoever said that.
It's right here. Thomas Della Volpe. I haven't retweeted.
Right. There you go. You can shout it. Or you can shout it out. But yeah, that was a good one. Kevin not being held hostage. I like that one. Kudos.
Hey, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Well, there's some goodies There's some goodies that are going to be on TikTok from the show today.
Oh God, hope one's not involving the Negro Leagues.
It might be. We might get
canceling Spanish.
Right.
All right, that's going to do it here for us on the AM Drive. We appreciate you guys sticking around. And tomorrow we have a Top 5 Tuesday. What are we going to do for Top 5 Tuesday?
Because baseball took a week off, so I don't know.
That's true. I mean, we're going to still do our Top 5 MLB rankings, but we're going to come up with a fun one for Top 5 Tuesday for sure. We'll let you guys know on the Twitter. Again, follow us, AM Drive TV. Of course, support this website right here, MikeandAaronDrive.com. including Fanatics, Vice Golf, and many of our other sponsors. So for Michael Carvelis, I am Aaron Crouch saying, once again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy your work week. I know that's hard to do, but we will see you guys tomorrow. We are out.
Drive safe.